Hello, Minerva parents. I'm Mrs. Hill. I am here to take you on a tour of how to use Teams. I'm using my laptop, so this is handy for anyone who's on a laptop or a desktop computer. I'll also record another session on how to use Teams via a tablet or phone. So I know that some of us have lots of different devices in our house. And depending on when you'll be using it, you might be using it on lots of different devices. So this is for if you are logging on a laptop or computer screen or PC. And hopefully I will be able to share my screen with you and show you around how to log in, how to access home learning, and all the class materials that we've been putting on there for your lovely children. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. My internet is temperamental, so hopefully it doesn't cut out. Brilliant. What you should be able to see now is my desktop, and I have downloaded the Microsoft Teams app. When we first sign into Microsoft Teams, it will give us the option to do that, and generally the app does function a lot better than using it through the web browser. So I'll show you how to do that, and then also how to go in from the web. So I'm going to start off by opening up Microsoft Edge. Some of us use Google Chrome quite a lot. I prefer to use Edge because it's actually a Microsoft product. So therefore there's not as many barriers or pop-ups that tend to happen with Google. So the website that you need to go to go on is Office 365, which is office.com. I've bookmarked mine, as you can see, but it's just a matter of typing www.office.com into your search address, and it will come up with this screen eventually. Don't worry if yours says that too. Mine is not because it can't reach the page, it's just because the internet is quite slow. So I've already logged on with this before. If you have too, it will say welcome, hello, welcome to whoever you are, welcome back. And it's asking me if I want to sign in using my CLF address. I'm just going to show you now that actually if I want to sign in with a different account, this is how we go about doing it. So the first thing it's going to ask you down here is for your email address, in which you'll put your child's email address, which is first name dot last name, not last name, and your children will have an @mpa.clf.uk email address. I don't have one of those, so I am going to just put mine in and click sign in. What that will take you to is the second part of the login screen, which is asking you to join into the Cabot Learning Federation. So here you need to put in your child's password, which is first initial, last initial, and then their short date of birth. So the children have all been given their usernames and logins, but if you're stuck, please do let us know and we can get those out to you. Oops, so I'll just put mine in without getting it wrong. Okay, when you sign in for the first time, it might ask you if you want to stay signed in. If you're on a shared computer with lots of children using it, you might want to click no. If you don't mind that the account is shared within your household, then you might click on yes. So I'm going to say don't show this again, but no, I don't want to stay signed in. Okay, what that will take you to is your 365 account. Now yours will look different to mine. The students will look a little bit different, but we all have the same apps down the side. So down the side of the button here, side of the screen, you will see all of the programs that we have access to free via the CLF. So anyone who hasn't had Word or Excel or PowerPoint on their computers, we've given you access to it, so children can start using these things at home. any documents that your children have been doing. I know that Year 5 have been making PowerPoint presentations, and we've been saving them onto our CLF accounts, and you'll be able to find them all here. So it's a great way, if we're using them between home and school, being able to see or to share homework into OneDrive. So, but we'll get onto that later. Down here at the side, we've got a little app that says Teams. The other way of finding it is that you can click on this little dots in the corner, which we call a waffle, and this is our app launcher. Outlook is how we check emails, but Teams is where we are doing most of our learning. So I'm going to click on Teams. Again, my browser is just telling me it's being slow. If yours does this, it's just about waiting and refreshing because it's got quite a lot to load. Okay, so eventually we get there. Okay, while we wait. Okay, the first thing it's going to ask you if you're going in by the web browser is, do you want to get the Windows app? If you do, if you don't have it already, that's all you need to do. It will download it. And I'll just show you what happens when that happens. It will say thanks for downloading, and mine will take forever. It will give you a link to press. As soon as you press that, it should install it onto your computer. If you don't want to do that and you just want to go in via the app, I'm just going to cancel that. You can use the web app instead. But as I said before, the web app doesn't give you as much functionality as the Teams app. So best to download it if you can, especially if the bubbles are shut and we do need to use this. It's so much easier to be able to join in using the app. So here you can see at the side here we've got all the different functions of Teams. Now, we've told the children that the chat function isn't to be used, so we hope that you do agree with us there that we only need to use the chat within a lesson. It's not for contacting. We've got email addresses should you need to contact us or contact the school office. So thank you for not using the chat. And also down these three little buttons, we've asked the children not to do any calling as well, so that's out of bounds for our children. What we are using though is our team, and you can see here that I'm part of lots of different teams, but I'm going to show you today around the Year 5 student team, which is my class team. So all you have to do is you'll have a student team or your year group level team. So once you go into the team, you'll see that there is posts, and that is where us teachers can post messages should we need to. As you can see along mine, when we assign some homework, that comes up onto the post. If we're in a meeting, if we are doing a lesson live, then that will show into the post as well. But the main thing that you need to look at really is files. So if you click on files in your year group team, we have loaded all of the materials that we would have once loaded up onto WordPress. So Teams, we're using Teams instead of WordPress purely because it's password protected. It means that we can share more with you without the risk of it being so public. And what we have done, each of the folders will have a similar setup. We are trying to make them similar across all year groups so that if you have children in different year groups, you should know your way around each one. So the most important one, I think, is the class materials. So if you find yourself at home isolating or class upload all of the week's learning. So as you can see, Year 5 have been doing this for quite a while, and we're forward planning into the future. So I'll go to the week that we're on now, for example. So we're term 2, week 1. Okay, so if we're isolating at home, then for that week, you should have a copy of all of the class materials that we've planned over the week. We set our homework in here as well, but there are a few ways that you might be able to find your class's homework, and I'll show you those later. So, for example, this week in Maths, Year 5, Term 2, Week 1, we've uploaded a PDF of all of the teaching slides we'll be using in the classroom. Now, obviously, that is not for it's not for you to feel the pressure of having to teach your children. However, it is good that to know what it is that we're talking about. So I mean, it is worth discussion. You can see what questions we would have asked in class and discussed, what Year 5 are doing, and hopefully the other year groups are doing as well. We'll put a little link to videos that will help. So the children are used to this format, and it means from home they'll know that this is what they are in the intention of their learning will be to use line graphs. There's an example of a line graph there, and there's some questions that you can discuss. There's also a link to a video which will explain the use of these line graphs as well. And then when you find, so there'll be sheets on here which we will have had printed out in the classroom, but if you want to look at and discuss with your children, so that should be, every year group is uploading their files, and it is sorted into the days of the week as well. So that's an example of that you might find. If you just close that down, it will take you back to the files. What we're also doing is any assemblies that we've shared. Obviously, we do assemblies via Teams as well through into the classrooms. And I know that whenever I've done an assembly, we upload the PowerPoint onto Teams as well. So if your child is talking about online safety, we had an assembly today, then you will find there's an online assembly here. So that's my children making lots of noise. Okay, so this was a few weeks ago that Key Stage 2 had an assembly on online safety, and the slides have been into all of Key Stage 2, and I know Miss Marlowe has done the same for Key Stage 1. So sorry, the dodgy internet means this is taking a long time. I'm hoping that yours, oh, there we go, it's not going to work for me. You will find it there. Okay, I'm just going to click on the back button so it will take me back to my team. Okay, in files, we will also find, oh, it's really deciding not to work at all at the moment. Quite typical. Okay, I'm going to go back to general and see if that works. Okay, we're also trying to keep up to date with Book Above Pay Grade. We read to the children from 1:30 or 1:35, depending on which key stage you're in actually, for about 20 minutes where we've got a real push and focus on vocabulary. So we're trying here to record as much as we can. Some of us are doing these as live sessions. Book Above Pay Grade should be on different year groups. The best ones, though, the most appropriate, we've got home learning. Some of us have got a different folder for home learning, so it's easier to find than having to sort through the weeks and terms on the class materials. So as you can see, Year 5 have got Term 1 Week 5 up until Term 1 Week 8 homework loaded onto here, so it's always there for you. And the last thing that we're trying to do as well for you is to, as you're not able to come into the school like you have been in the past, we're going to be sharing some celebrations with you. So I'll show you the last thing. I've made some movies for my class if you haven't had a chance to see them yet, any St George parents. But we've also just done things like taking a photograph of the poems that Year 5 wrote, and we've loaded that into a PowerPoint, which we've uploaded to Teams as well. So we'll try and text out when when we've got a new celebration, because they're really nice. And although we've got the first screen, it's still going to take its time to load, unfortunately. Okay, so apologies again for my slow technology. Okay, here we go. So all I've done here is taken a photograph of the books. We wrote some poems, some really great poems about why we need to look after our rivers. I've just put them onto a PowerPoint for my class parents to have a look at. So we're going to get better at putting lots of celebrations on for you to look at too. The other, I think that's pretty much the main things that we would like you to have a go at using for the moment. So logging in, finding your class's team, your child's team. So just by clicking on teams at the side, let's just have a look at another team. So the Year 4 students team is here as well. And as you can see, Miss Wright does post a lot in here. She's got a pupil reading survey for you. There's some book review activities there, which is great. And her book above pay grade video of her reading it to her class. We are using files for our home learning, class materials, assembly resources and homework. So a similar structure in all of our teams so that you can hopefully get a really good handle on using it. I'm going to leave it there for now. Please, if you have any questions about Teams, you can contact me on year5@mpa.clf.uk, or your class teachers are well skilled in using Teams, and we're always here to help you, because this is an amazing resource that we've got and a really great way of us all keeping in touch. So I hope you found that really helpful. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to go back to my meeting team, and there we go. It should be back to me now. So thank you. I will post another video about using Teams on a phone, which is slightly different. But thank you for listening.